Essendon 11-18-84, Carlton 11-10-76. Season lives on. When after the first 20 minutes it looked like it was a walk in the park for the Bombers, and Carlton with the chance to Silvani to take it to a 3-goal lead late in the game, unable to do so. Dyson Heppel magnificent, McDonald, Tip and Woody, heroes all round. Essendon season lives on in a game that in the finish was a wonderful thing to watch.
Yeah, we were worried in the first half, but Essendon finally got it right in the last quarter. They actually played the game with a bit of speed and actually started to kick the ball a lot more instead of overusing it with handball. They fell into that trap. Carlton applied a lot of pressure, and for a lot of that last quarter we thought Essendon weren't going to get there because Carlton was super organised in defence. They had a lot of numbers back, but Essendon managed to find their way back into the game and kick the ball into their big forwards, and McDonald, Tip and Woody was fantastic with his forward pressure and deserved that last goal running in to really seal it for the Bombers.
You can contact us on the open line, 96900 693 if you're leaving Yarra Park or you've been following the game, 96900 693, and of course the Tyre Power Twitter at 3AW is football. Tyre Power doing great deals on BF Goodrich passenger cars and other vehicles, but they are Australia's biggest and most successful independent retailer. 96900 693 or the Tyre Power Twitter at 3AW is football. Lee Matthews. There you go, Lee. That's a lovely way to spend an afternoon.
Just before Lee, the Bombers are in the 8 tone for the moment, although the Bulldogs, of course, will have the final say in this round 20.
Well, it's keeping it alive, isn't it, from Essendon's point of view? The loss really just would be disastrous, but that still keeps them alive, and destiny's still in their own hands.
That it does. Early stages in the first quarter, and the Dogs lead 1-1 to 1 goal there. There are players that rise to the moment. I don't care how many stats he's got, but I just thought, if you want to take a microcosm of the game, Jim, in the last 6 or 7 minutes, I thought Dyson Heppel just showed his worth with just the coolest of head, with a half forward, half back, just winning the footy for the Bombers.
Yeah, exactly right. He was enormous in the second half when Essendon certainly needed it, and so that's what leadership's about. When your side's not playing great footy, that actually lead the way by getting your hands on the football. He had 15 contested possessions. He got his hands on the most important ones around the clearances and stoppages when Essendon certainly needed him most.
Let's go to the callers. Justin joins on the 3AW open line. Justin, have a chat with Lee Matthews.
Hi, Lee. Please, mate, tell me, why don't the Bombers hold their forward line structure? We're playing with 2 forwards in the second quarter, same in the third quarter. We need 6 forwards, mate. Can you talk to me?
I know that look, when we look at it from the outside, don't we? I mean, you've got 6 forwards, but then 2 or 3 of them are going to be up quite often up in the back half, just helping to bolster the defence. And really, a couple of them came through late to get those couple over the top. That Tip and Woody goal over the top was basically, I guess, based on that. So, yeah, just basically having 6 forwards forward of the play. Well, really, no teams do that anymore. So it's not only Essendon, but it gets frustrating at times because you kick the ball out of your defence, and then all of a sudden the opposition outnumber the forwards. But that's the way most coaches tend to set up their game and their team.
Hey, Justin, hand on heart here. Are you nervous every time Cale Hooker lines up?
Well, yes, I am. He needs to work on it. I think he can get better. I'm sure he can.
Yeah, well, all he has to do is just get that accuracy up a little bit, Jim. And again, he's been pretty good this year, but just some chances today. I think he kicks 2 goals.
5.
2 goals, 5. So they live on. The Bombers, Carlton. Beg your pardon. Carlton get close, but not close enough in the finish. 11-18-84 Essendon, Carlton 11-10-76. Jim, your initial reaction? Essendon now in the 8. They've been close. They've lost some games they should have won. Today could have been the other way around. I reckon on balance this is about where they deserve to be.
Yeah, exactly right. But it's important when you're not playing well and you're making a run at the 8. Sometimes you just got to find a way to win. Their first quarter was fantastic, but they allowed Carlton to play much of their game for the remainder of it, which was that kick mark game. Carlton had... Well, they have 102 marks, and we said that before the game. If you allow Carlton just to kick mark, you're playing into their hands, and I think they learned a good lesson when the game was on the line, 10 minutes to go, be brave and back your ability in the forward half. So, look, they're not always going to be pretty wins, but the fact is it's a win.
Lee?
Yeah, well, that's really, you just got to find a way to get home, and they again, you often think if we see it so often where the team behind with 5 minutes to go or 5 or 6 minutes to go finds a way to get the extra couple of goals to get in front. And I just think there's an element of, I mentioned it with about that time, that Carlton can sometimes play a fairly lead protection, slow type of game. But basically that allowed Essendon, I think, to really get the initiative late in the game and kick the last 3 goals when really they looked in real trouble. So sometimes I think Carlton may have been again the team in front who's gone a little bit into that defensive lead protection mode.
So it is an 8-point win to Essendon earlier today. The Giants 14-13-97 defeating Melbourne 10-62. 35 points the margin there on the back of 8 unanswered goals from about the 7 or 8 minute mark of the first quarter to quarter time. Sets up the Giants win in second posse, Essendon in the 8th, and it's 1-1 both the Dogs and the Brisbane Lions. However, with just pictures coming through from the Gabba, and Eastonwood looks like he has done himself a serious hamstring injury at this stage. More details on that. So the Bombers get over the line in a game of, well, it's hard to watch the first quarter in a bit, but certainly the second half lived up to these great traditional rivals. 84-76, Essendon by 8 points. I'll get down to the rooms, Doc Larkins, and there will be some most relieved Essendon footballers in your gaze in but a moment.
Yeah, Simon Madden told me never in doubt, Tone. He said never in doubt. But good kicking is good footy normally, so that was 11-18. So at the end it was those behinds that were critical when it was an 8-point win. But the players coming in very slowly. They're actually not coming into the song area. They're not coming into the warm-up area. They're going via the back alleyway to the long way around. So that's why you don't hear any reception, even though the players have arrived. Mm-hmm. They're all coming through the long way, and they're just making their way now into the warm-up area. So there's quite a few fans here, but not a lot of excitement. I mean, a pretty flat reception for them at the moment. So they did win. I've got to remind them, Tone. They did win. So the players themselves now getting organised. Just a couple of seconds more, so now they're here.
Say the Bombers fire up to win the premiership flag. Our boys who play this great old game are always striving for glory and fame. See the Bombers fly up. They are the teams that don't fit. They don't try their best, but they can't give it as the Bombers fly up.
Well, that was a reasonable effort. Not even a round of applause when they arrived, Tony. Did you notice that? So almost a polite reception.
We are watching it on the big screen, and you're right, there's still a few thousand looking at the big screen.
It's almost like there was a draw, but they did win, and maybe they felt, well, as I said, it was one of those fluctuating games, and ultimately 8 points.
So as we can inform our listeners, who have we got?
No idea. I've got to find someone.
Is there a protocol that needs observing?
We just need to get permission and ask. So.
Okay, well, while you're there, Paul joins us online, an Essendon fan. Paul, Jimmy Bartell's ready for your call.
Yes, Jimmy. I guess I'm speaking on behalf of a lot of Essendon supporters. We tend to feel very frustrated with the Bombers, and it has existed for the last 10 years. And I just want to ask you, what can we do? Is it to have some more cool heads in the makeup, or do we have to play more games outside the G? Because I know one of the things that I don't like is that we play indoors a lot, and it doesn't expose us to the elements.
Yeah, well, today was near perfect conditions for an outdoor game at the MCG. The sun was shining, and I'm not sure whether there was much breeze down there at all. But, yeah, I get what you're saying. When you play in a lot of games in at Etihad, you can come accustomed to the perfect conditions. But I think it's just time together as the group. This is the first year where you've got the mix of the older players and the young players that you played with last year, like Parrish and even McDonald, Tip and Woody. So just time together, I think you'll get some more consistency in your game plan.
Stay tuned, Paul, because we are grateful for the time. He led brilliantly from the front today, the Essendon skipper Dyson Heppel alongside Doc Larkins.
Yeah, thanks, son. You must have known something when you were boosting him up there as he was arriving into the rooms, but such an important win to have, Dyson, no question about that, but just hard work at one stage, and I just said the best 9 points in a row, because the 8-point win at the end, you'll take it.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, it was a crazy game. I'm just stoked the group was able to stick together, stay composed through that back end of the game, and eventually it turned for us. So look, it certainly wasn't the way we wanted to play today. Carlton were fantastic. They played their style of game, and we got drawn into playing their way as well. So we've got a few things to iron out, but take the points.
When you say drawn into their way of playing, what do you mean by that, Dyson?
Well, look, they love that sort of short style kick and catch type of game, and we nearly allowed that. We seemed to retreat a lot in our defence, and they picked us apart a bit. But look, in the end, we managed to shut it down, and a few of their long balls we managed to capitalise on. So that's what we tried to do throughout the whole game. But in the end, it was a bit scrappy.
Dice, at three-quarter time, what was the message from Woosha? Because it seemed like you guys decided to kick the ball a lot more and go forward to the big forwards, which you had great effect with in the first quarter.
Yeah, well, that's it. You saw from the start of the game, he kept it very basic, just deep entries and lock it in there, and it worked a treat. And then we sort of went right away from that. So you're right, that was a main message, just try and get it deep to our forwards, give them a good opportunity, and lock the ball in there.
And are you going to be Cale Hooker's goal-kicking coach this week?
He got there in the end. He was actually striking them really well. They just shifted late, but look, very happy that he stayed composed and nailed that last one.
Seen a lot of games this year, just what happened today, where the team that's 2 or 3 goals behind, a couple of goals behind with the other 5 minutes to go, keeps playing strongly, whereas the team in front tends to, slow down, go with the lead protection a little bit. Do you sense that out there at all?
No, you do, absolutely. We played in a few of them ourselves, and look, I think it's just that mindset, attitude. You nearly try and save the game instead of keep playing, and it can really hurt you. So I think the way we just attacked, and we had nothing to lose when we were sort of that couple of goals down, and it turned for us, as you saw.
Dyson, we just inside police from inside the club. Anthony McDonald, Tippenwoody, quiet fella, boisterous. Connor McKenna, quiet fella or boisterous?
Look, if you know them, they're very boisterous. But looking, as you say, looking from the outside, probably seem pretty quiet. But look, they're absolute rippers, both of them. Great characters. They'll do anything for the team. And as you see, super exciting players.
And that last goal that Tippenwoody had to beat 2, broke through a pack. Yeah. I don't know what sort of view you had on it, but for all the world, you could almost expect him, because he was outnumbered, to actually lose the football. But he's so good, sort of, from the trunk down, not losing his footy and retaining control of the football at all times.
Yeah, that's it. He's strong through the glutes, strong through the core, and very hard to tackle. And look, just that little bit of polish that he adds is something we haven't seen in a number of years at Essendon. So love having him on our side. Yeah.
How much fitter and harder is he than last year? I guess you weren't seeing him up close, Dyson, last year, but he looks a harder athlete now than he was as the young fella that he was in his debut season.
Well, no doubt. Look, he's put in an enormous amount of work, and to be honest, that's led by his mother Jane, who is absolutely takes him under her wing, and has pretty much forced him to be a little weapon and work on his game and work on his fitness. And look, he's been fantastic, and he's got himself in ripping nick.
Good. Thanks for joining. Just a quick one, Dyson, because we all know that the Carlton boys, when they can win, they can walk up Lygon Street. Puckle Street doesn't quite have the same sort of options. Can you boys just walk around the Moonee Ponds, Essendon area, knowing full well you just don't have to dip into the pocket?
Actually, I can tell you Dyson's a bit of an Albert Park boy.
Is he really?
I've seen Dyson at a couple of our favourite cafes, Dice, so I reckon you might be heading that way for a free coffee.
Oh, dear, yeah. Go and move in next to Job, I think, mate. He's floating around down there.
Good. You don't run into Jimmy Bartell down in Albert Park, do you?
I've seen him a couple of times, old Jim.
Whereabouts, Jimmy? A latte each, soy deconstructed.
Oh, please.
With something that's been sort
That'll do you, lads.
Thank you very much. Good on you, Dyson.
Good on you, guys. Thanks.
There you go. You run into him down there?
Oh, I've seen Dyson around there. He's a lovely fella.
Yeah. I don't know that I was casting any sort of
just
doubt about his super. You felt duty-bound to defend him there?
No, just reaffirming what probably most people know about Dyson Hepley. He's a great fella and great to have a chat to about footy off the field. It's a nice part of the world down there.
Is it? No. Not from boys from Footscray when they don't get any...
You're a hard man from Footscray.
Oh, jeez.
Tell you what he is, Tony's a terrific leader, isn't he?
That was it. That's the point, Lee. And just going back to the caller, like, for someone one of these players that grows up in front of our eyes, from the get-go, he's been a beauty. But even look at his game today and think, you really did organise him late when it counted,
Well,
Dyson.
Yeah, very much too. His best part of his game was probably his last quarter, that one when you really need someone to find another gear. He was certainly one of the Essendon midfielders who did that.
So it was an 8-point margin. Essendon 11-18-84, Carlton 11-10-76. The Giants 14-13-97 over Melbourne 10-62. The Dogs by 9 points. Jason Johannesson was laid out. Bob Murphy came into the side.
The travelling emergency, Tone.
The travelling emergency. But in saying that, there is a really bad-looking injury to, and we're not sure exactly what it is. It looked like a hamstring, but Eastonwood was unable to walk from the ground. He was assisted from the ground. We'll get some more details on that. Bang on 5 o'clock. Essendon by 8 points earlier today, with all thanks to KFC. The flatbread sliders, just $2. Hurry, it ends Monday. You're listening to 3AW Football.
This is the 2017 Toyota AFL Premiership season. This quarter brought to you by Don 40 Franks. Is good.
Tony Leonard for Yarra Valley Toyota, Croydon and Lilydale, 2016 Gold Excellence Award winners for the highest level of customer service. 5-star guest experience at Yarra Valley Toyota, LMCT 1541.
At First Choice Liquor, we've got amazing prices on hundreds of drinks, like a 10-pack of Canadian Club and dry cans for only $34. That's right, only $34. Visit First Choice Liquor online or in-store today. Catalogue ends Tuesday.
Hi, Rob from E&S. Our Noble Park Clearance Centre is now open 6 days, Monday to Saturday, 9 till 4. We're clearing appliances from across our kitchen, bathroom and laundry ranges. Plenty of cooktops, ovens, range hoods, sinks, taps, washers, dryers, baths and basins. Get 40, 50, 60% off RRP on end-of-line, ex-display and scratch and dent. Get the best E&S brands at crazy clearance prices at our Noble Park Clearance Centre, 215 Browns Road. Surround yourself with quality at E&S.
Rats, mice, cockroaches, all gone. With new Pestrol Rodent Free. No chemicals, fumes, odours, traps or mess. Pestrol Rodent Free uses electromagnetic and ultrasonic technologies and is safe for the environment, your family and pets. Just plug it in for 24-hour-a-day protection with no ongoing costs. With a 2-year warranty and 60-day money-back guarantee, Pestrol Rodent Free is just $119.90 plus postage. Free call 1-800-338888 or visit pestrol.com.au.
Hi, it's Steve Price. Join myself and the boys from caradvice.com Monday nights from 9. Whether you're in the market for a new car or you just love talking about cars like I do, you'll love Car Advice. The latest car launches, industry news and expert reviews of all the most popular models. Car Advice helps put you in the driver's seat. Whatever the car, whatever the need. Get the good word from the professionals and special guests. Car Advice, Monday nights from 9 on 3AW 693.
Hi, it's Alan from House of Recliners. Whether you're after a Lazy Boy recliner, Tessa Easy lift chair or an IMG recliner of Norway, we offer the best in comfort for any room in your home. House of Recliners, Turrock Road, Camberwell or houseofrecliners.com.au.
As someone who loves small business insurance, people often say, do you ever stop talking about it? And I always reply, no, not when there's so much to know. Like, can I choose the amount of liability? Is my vehicle included? And my laptop? Yes, yes, and yes, RACV will answer. At that point, people usually say, that's fascinating, but I've really got to go. And I say, you should discover the thrills of small business insurance yourself at racv.com.au/business. Good PDS too. Product issued by Insurance Australia Limited.
Been affected by an injury on the road? Morris Blackburn's personal injury lawyers can help get the compensation that you deserve. Visit morrisblackburn.com.au. It doesn't cost you anything to know where you stand. Morris Blackburn, proud supporter of 3AW football.
Burnzo, we don't generally like telling people where to go, but in this case, I think we can make an exception.
Absolutely. We're giving away a $10,000 travel voucher thanks to Keezer.
Each day next week, we'll be dishing out clues to a different tropical destination. Head to 3aw.com.au and correctly guess the daily location, and you'll go into the draw to visit whatever sunny destination takes your fancy.
All thanks to our mates at Keezer. Be strong, stay strong.
Ross and John's Winter Escape starts next week on 3AW 693.
The Bombers win by the skin of their teeth. A near-death experience. They're still in the race. They beat one of their arch rivals by 8 points at the MCG.
11-18-84 Essendon, Carlton 11-10-76. 3 to Joe Danaher, 3 to Anthony McDonald-Tippin, Woody with 2 just quite out of the top draw goals. Totally different. But here's a special player. Cale Hooker with a couple. 2 goals, 5. Jim, is that right for the day for Cale Hooker, or 2 goals, 6?
5.
2-5 for him, but a number of marks were taken, and it's a good target for them to have for Carlton 3 goals to Matthew Wright, their leading goal scorer there. It was GWS 14-13-97, Melbourne 10-2-62, and the Dogs with 2 minutes to quarter time for Vodafone around the grounds. It's 5-5-35 to Brisbane 2-2-14. You can have a chat if you're stuck in Yarra Park. Want to talk the Blues, their progression this year, although the win-loss ratio says it's 5-14 at the moment. Essendon, the way that they've gone. The team's already, we're here until 6 o'clock. Only one, we're all doing it live on 96900 693. 96900 693. Lee Matthews, Tim Lane, Jimmy Bartell to take your call. Hop on the line now or via the Twitter at 3AW is Football for Tyre Power, doing great deals on Goodrich tyres at the moment. As Bill has tweeted in, and a rather frustrated one is too, Lee, get rid of Casbolt, step up in these situations or no place in our future. And I suppose that's the one that...
I guess referring to the last miss. I mean, that was a 50-50 goal from 45 metres, 30 metres out. Sometimes he kick him, sometimes he wouldn't. So, no, I think Casbolt's still giving them something in there. He's still the most likely go-to big forward. So you take him out, you go back to... I mean, Curno's looking okay, but he's still only in his infancy.
Yeah, I'm not sure what your forward line looks like if you take away Casbolt.
Jim, just to that end, Essendon... We know plenty of talent there. We know they're travails. Getting used to each other. Better again next year for sure. And a real player. They're quite likely to play finals football this year. However, Carlton, is there a harsh assessment need to be made, or it's still steady as she go? Everyone can see the improvement.
Well, they're building their game one part at a time. We all know Carlton. They're building it, on defence or their back line first, and they've got to add the attacking element. As we came into this game, Lee touched on it, Carlton were 10 to 12 goal side, and they've finished with 11 goals, but they'll manage to keep Essendon 11 themselves. They've just got to find some attacking flair or some sort of system when they take the ball forward, because they certainly got the defensive part right, but now they need to add the other part to it.
Lee, your thoughts on Carlton's progression? Now we get to see them another time.
I mean, a progression. All it is they've been stuck down the bottom for a few years. They're looking like they got some glimpses. They got some youth that looks promising. But, gee, it's an uncertain future. I mean, there's nothing that say, oh, yeah, they're going to be great in 3 years' time. I don't see it that way.
Let's go down to Doc Larkins in the injury room for Morris Blackburn Lawyers, experts in personal injury. Injured at work, on the roads, public place. Contact the biggest and most successful Morris Blackburn Lawyers. We start with Essendon, Docs, and it's Orazio Fantasia.
It is, and we'll stop with him as well because he is the biggest injury of the day for them, and probably won't see him with his hamstring injury playing for at least the next 3 to 4 weeks at best, you'd think, with the mechanism in that first quarter, just charging through the middle, and right hamstring went twing, and he sort of managed to half hop and half struggle to the interchange bench. Obviously, they'll do the compulsory scans to look to see how deep the tear goes, but it's going to be in that more severe grade of tearing, Tony, and in the best of circumstances, players are missing 3 to 4 weeks with that just on spec when you see it early on, and they can go longer if the tendon's involved, and then it becomes how long's a piece of string with that. So that's very frustrating for him. He just said to me that's footy, and he understands that, but given that we're in round 20, he won't play the home and away games, I would expect for sure, and then it's a matter of whether they've got a deep September as to whether he gets back, because he's got to get his fitness back. So pretty frustrating. He's been such an important weapon for them in the lead up over the last month or 6 weeks particularly. So they didn't have really any other concerns. Yes, and here at Carlton, the players are in a team meeting at the moment, a very sombre looking coaching group that took them in there. So they're still behind closed doors. Their biggest concern today will be Jacob Wiedering. Late in the third quarter, it looked to me that they were concerned about a crack in his left hand. He didn't really punch. I think you mentioned a couple of times he didn't get a spoil, and he wasn't really using the left hand in the last quarter, Tony, and I think they'll be checking him to see whether he's got more than a bruising in the left hand. And in addition, during the last quarter, Jacob Wiedering again jarred his toe very awkwardly. They're thinking he's got a turf toe, and that sounds like nothing, but I'll just say the name James Frawley to you, and you'll know that he's missed the best part of 8 or 9 weeks.
Aaron Sandilands
with the biggest foot in the footy toe, the biggest turf toe. So it's not an inconsequential injury if you damage the cartilage inside the toe. So they're going to be checking him when he comes out of the meeting to see how sore his toe is. You can play with a sore hand, you can't play with a turf toe. And so we'll see what Wiedering comes out with that. But that'll be Carlton's main concern in their recovery tomorrow, Tone.
Good stuff. So that is it, Doc. We will stay down there. No indication as to when Carlton will make a Carlton player.
Well, no, I'm not going to knock on the door and ask.
No,
I
that's
think
all
we'll
right.
ask him, because I reckon he had a very stony look on his face, Brendan Bolton, when he went in there, and I think this is one they regret losing.
Good stuff, and we'll also be getting an update on Leon Cameron's hand tomorrow. Thank you, Doc. We'll go back to you when Carlton makes themselves available for a post-game interview. Essendon 11-18-84. Carlton is an 8-point loser today, 11-10-76. It is GWS 14-13-97 over Melbourne 10-62. And the Dogs, a short time ago, were out to a 27-point margin, but injury to Easton Wood will clearly temper any joy there. So it gets down to the stage now. Jim, do you see Essendon playing finals football?
Oh, I certainly do. They're in that mix for the bottom half of the 8. We know their good is certainly good enough to match it with anyone, but we saw in the space of a game here, their good is very good and their poor is really average.
Lee?
Well, they want 10 wins. So it now becomes like simple equations. It's good when it gets to the pointy end of the season. So they've got 10 wins. Next week they play Adelaide at Etihad, then Gold Coast up the Gold Coast and Freo at Etihad. Well, just where they are on the ladder, Adelaide's going to be tough to beat. If they can find a way to beat Adelaide, then I think there's a very good chance they're going to get the 13 wins and then they would play finals. So they're certainly in contention, but there's about half a dozen teams that are all going to be on that 10 or 11 wins, and I think you're going to need at least 12 wins. So Essendon have to win at least 2 of them, and even then it might be the best percentage of the teams on 12 wins. So they might have to win the whole 3. Their percentage is reasonable, 107. Who's around them? The Western Bulldogs have been a percentage of 100. West Coast at 105. Melbourne 107. So they're certainly in contention. There's going to be a lot of games that are going to determine if the question is, can they beat the Crows? They can probably afford to drop the Crows and have some chance, but beat the Crows, beat the Suns, beat Freo, well, then they would make it.
Tyre Power sponsor our Twitter at 3RW is football. Simon and team back in the 3RW studio. Can we just throw this out as the half-hour, 30-minute post-game poll? Of the sides chasing a spot in the 8, of which you can probably get down to Melbourne, Eagles, Dogs, Essendon, St Kilda, who misses? Just put that out, just see what the public think. Melbourne at the moment, Lee, go under and really comprehensively against a GWS side that either might have found something in the last 2 weeks, but 27 scoring shots to 12. The cause for concern, as you would say, for the Demons.
Well, it is. I mean, they play St Kilda, Lions, Collingwood. So they're all teams that if you St Kilda are in the run for it, of course. Obviously, the Lions are not and Collingwood are not. So Melbourne should have a very good chance of winning their next 3 games, which would get them to 13 wins. So I think they'll probably will be one of the teams that are going to lob in the bottom part of the 8.
Lions game at the MCG. Do you see Melbourne missing it all now, Jim?
No, not really, but it makes that Melbourne-St Kilda game super interesting, and I probably have just a touch more faith in Melbourne at this stage.
Tone, I know smoking is not allowed even out on the concourse here at the MCG anymore, but there is a smoky emerging, and it is a team called Hawthorn, and if they can beat Richmond tomorrow, they may well be within 2 points of the 8. So they don't have to worry about percentage. They have a couple of very winnable games against North Melbourne and Carlton.
Mm-hmm.
The final round clash between Hawthorn and the Western Bulldogs could be of massive account.
Yeah, if they can get to... They've got to win the 4 games that they're yet to play, but if they can win the last 4 and get to 12.5 wins, be surprised if that doesn't actually get you there.
Lee, just on the point of... At about this time of the year, we're into August, and you're thinking to yourself, we reckon with the more likely, and I know it didn't take place last year, but the more likely flag winners or grand finalists start to emerge, every time you think that someone's going to do something, they tend to fall on the sword, as is the case with Geelong last night.
Well, yeah, I mean, each weekend of footy it changes, it always does, but now we can really... Every result seems to have a greater impact. Like if Essendon had lost today, you think they're stuck on 9 wins, they're not likely to win their last 4 games, so you think they're probably not going to make it. So, but the fact is, I mean, for the club level, and we're going to talk about the big picture and what might happen longer term, but the clubs are just locked into trying to finish the greatest amount of wins, see if they can get there. The other thing that does happen this time of year, even at club level, Jimmy, you start barracking for other games, don't you? There's other games that you want to go a certain way to help your own cause.
Lee, just to go off brief for a moment, if people like to enter the conversation, feel free, 96900 693. But that final roar, when Essendon put the game beyond doubt, was that the Tip and Woody goal?
Yes, that was the last goal, was it? Their last goal.
When he sort of runs in, found his way, totally clear of everyone. You've got the whole half to yourself. And I don't know what emotions and what words are going through your head, don't bounce it, bounce it, don't bounce it, bounce it, don't miss.
Well, to be
don't
honest,
miss, run further.
I mean, no one picks him up from behind. I would have said run it and bounce and get closer to goal. He ended up kicking from about 30 metres and he nailed it.
Yeah.
But I must say, I'd be thinking there, have a bounce and see if you can get to almost point-blank range, because there was no one on his hammer.
Mate, the question I want to throw out, 96900 69, great rules for goals. So, boys, can you lead us off? Hey, Jim, have you got... Well, yours, of course, you've got that Geelong Hawthorn.
Oh, Tom Hawkins, when same end as Tip and Woody's goal.
Yeah.
He smashed that. I was standing behind him when he had the shot. He took the shot from 50, but he would have been between the 50 and the back of the square.
That was after the siren.
After the siren.
Yeah.
Incredible noise. It was deafening.
Can you, when you hear that, do you try to speak to each other or just take in all the sound?
No, you're jumping up and down and carrying on like idiots as you do, and it's just an unbelievable feeling. It almost gives me goosebumps now reflecting on it.
Well, spine-tingling today.
Yes.
I mean, Tim called it. You were calling it at the time, Tim. But when the ball went through, you could see the whole crowd rose in their seat, and there was this collective guttural roar. And this is just, you don't see it here at any other place but the MCG every now and again. But it's just spine-tingling.
It's actually slow motion in normal motion. You don't jump up immediately. You sort of get up slowly as the ball's going towards the goal. And something like that was absolutely magnificent. And here's how Tim Lane caught one of the great moments in this game. Essendon, with Anthony McDonald, Tip and Woody finally putting it beyond the Blues.
Season on the line here for the Bombers. Cruises the tap, but straight to Heppel, who bangs it back to the wing. Marchbank almost marked it. Spillage picked up for the Bombers by Stewart. He's got McDonald, Tip and Woody streaming down the ground. He runs to within 30. And he produces one of those MCG roars that make you glad you're alive, particularly if you're wearing red and black.
The harder you went, the harder the crowd went, and we didn't ramp up I can promise our listeners, we did not ramp up the sound effects. We do have them a fraction louder to give you that live atmosphere, Jim. We'll get to call. Hey, Dave, hang on the line, Dave. We want to hear about your great roars in football. Join Dave, 96900 693.
But how good was that? A great call, Tim. When Tip and Woody got the ball, it actually sounded like you were calling the last, part of a horse race then. Tip and Woody, like they were hitting the line when he took the shot.
It was a great... Hey, Dave, you got a great roar for a goal for us, because the one we witnessed today with McDonald, Tip and Woody was an absolute beauty.
Yeah, I can't go past Mark McCurry 1993 prelim final. It was phenomenal.
Preliminary final, was this the one where you knocked over Adelaide? Have I got the right game there, or am I a year early?
Yep, and he kicked a goal and put us about 2, maybe 3 goals down still, but the roar... You just knew the game was ours when he put it through. It was amazing.
Yeah, I remember the game. I also remember, Dave, I've asked Cornsey about this. When you're leading by 42 points at half-time, and we know that he is one of the more determined and straightforward characters, Leon the Planet, Graham Corns, I said to him, did you just have a peek at the scoreboard? And he did have a peek. Mark McCurry's goal, that is an absolutely sensational roar. So we've got 2 of them there to go with. Put that one out on the Tyre Power Twitter. Great roars for goals, if we'd be so kind. Thank you, Simon, at 3AW's Football. John joins us. Hey, John, we heard a great roar with McDonald, Tip and Woody. Have you got one for us?
Yeah, gentlemen, the 2010 prelim, Ben Johnson, in the first quarter when he did a sidestep, he kicked it from about 45.
Yeah.
And it went in, and, mate, I was there for that night, and all 6 of those goals we scored in the first quarter got a roar, but I reckon that was probably the loudest.
Yeah, happy to go with that one. I'm happy to go with the point.
Well, I actually thought it's amazing he picked that goal because, Collingwood were on fire. That was against us, the Cats, in the prelim, but I thought it was big Lee Brown when he took a shot from about 60 out and did a massive right-angle leg break. The roar then for the Collingwood supporters, they knew it was their night.
Anthony Lockett's point after the siren, 1996 at Sydney, and everyone thinks, they won't know what happens, but there was 50,000 just absolutely foot to the floorboards.
And that was only a point, yes.
That was a point, but
goal.
It's Sean Burgoyne's goal, 2013 preliminary final. Tim, can you help us with that one?
What year was that, Tony?
2013 preliminary for great roars.
Against the Cats again. Geez, thanks for bringing up all those prelims where you got rolled.
Well, at least you're part of the action.
Thanks. Oh, yeah, appreciate that.
I tell you something. You've walked in today with a complete nut of sads on.
No, I haven't.
Yes, you have.
Oh, very happy.
You're normally very happy.
Oh, I'm very happy.
Do you remember the goal, the Burgoyne one?
Yeah, Smother. He turned over the footy in the pocket and just typical Sean Burgoyne, all the time in the world, class under pressure and banana or a drop punt from a tight angle. What's his
City end?
City end, yes, forward pocket.
And was it a good roar?
Oh yeah, an enormous roar. It'd be good if we had a West Coast supporter calling when Big Nat Nui took that massive pack grab right on the siren. I think that might have been a first final, and he slotted it afterwards.
Good stuff. Sarah joins us on the line. Sarah, we're comparing great roars of different eras, which is always fraught with danger. But we love the McDonald Tip and Woody one today. Have you got one?
Yes, I'm a Bombers supporter and a very happy one.
Yep.
I remember, I think it was the 2015 or maybe 14 Anzac Day game, Essendon Collingwood, and it was teeming with rain, and Collingwood were in front, and Zaharakis kicked a goal right on the siren, and that was amazing.
2009, we're told it was, Sarah. Shows how time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it?
2000, is it that long ago?
It's a while ago. Yeah, it's a few years back.
What
about it was on Channel 10, actually, and I was calling that game with Steve Quartermain, and Quarters called it. So,
yes.
10 time ran out in 2011.
And how good was the roar that day? Because
it was a good roar.
Yeah.
What about
to the City end? I think it was it not?
It was.
Yes, Essendon Carlton theme. Surprised no one's thought the Michael Long when Silvani thought he touched it.
No, that was touched.
Oh, what was it touched?
Yeah.
Oh, Carlton think everything's touched, don't they?
Steve joins us on the Nick Theodosi open line. Steve, you've got a great goal roar for us.
Yeah, mate. The night grand final when the siren went, Kerry Good kicked the blight after the siren.
Yeah.
With the Collingwood crowd screaming the siren's gone, and the North Melbourne crowd screaming because Blight was going to dob it, which he did. It was just pandemonium.
Yeah, well, now, we actually have entered into a subsection of roaring as into pandemonium. But good on you, Steve. I can remember it absolutely clear as a bell, that one, mainly because we get to see it so often. One of those magnificent timepieces with people just, in ill-fitting Levi jeans, hands in pockets, just walking on the ground.
And it was also, Tone, where Collingwood had reached a point where you just couldn't imagine that they would invent a new way of losing a grand final. And even though it was a night grand final, it felt as though it was very much in the category.
Good stuff. Let's go down to the Carlton rooms. Dale Thomas joins us, standing alongside you, Doc.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. A very lengthy post-game meeting, Dale. I'm sure the meetings you don't like to have too much with that situation. But just going back, I mean, after a pretty bad start, the next hour or so, you were really competitive, really plugged them back and got into a good position. But the close games can be brutal, can't they?
Yeah, they can be. Look, it's sort of, the group's been in a lot of games and had to come back and fight our way into a fair few games. And to our group's credit, we've been able to do that. But I guess the other side of it is, the disappointing thing is we've lost a fair few close ones as well when we've been in front late. So, look, it is a touch disappointing, but, you've got to be happy with the effort, but then you're still disappointed at the fact that you don't get a win.
Was part of that review, Daisy, that maybe when you had that goal and a half lead that you maybe sort of started to play a bit slow, just went into lead protection mode or something? Was that something that was thought of and identified, talked about post-game?
Yeah, well, there was a bit of that, and also a bit of we didn't take our opportunities. I think we had another chance to potentially go 16 points up, and we had it inside our forward line for a bit, and they slingshotted down and got one goal, and then the second as well. So we're still a young group, which is the frustrating thing because you don't want to give that as an out, but we're learning as we go, and these games you learn a lot more than sometimes when you lose than rather you do when you win. So we've got to try and find a positive on it because it is super frustrating, but you can't let that frustration get in the way of some super effort and some solid form.
Daisy, your own personal game, you seem to be playing a lot higher in recent weeks. Is that just the confidence in the body allowing you to do that a bit more?
Yeah, look, a little bit of positional stuff too. Obviously with Paddy Cripps going out, I've had a couple of slings through the midfield there, which is always a nice treat to be in and around the ball, and playing forward and getting up the ground as well. So the body's holding up all right. It is a tough year, but to be hanging in there and feeling good on game day is a nice feeling that I certainly haven't had for a few years.
What's your take on the season overall, Daisy? It looks as though you're going to come up with maybe a win or two fewer than last year, and yet I think among the fans there's a feeling that progress has been made.
Yeah, well, look, I guess we'll sort of reflect entirely at the end of the year, and hopefully we can, pin one or two more wins together. I think, we'll, we've shown throughout the year that we can take it up to anyone. So, look, our focus will turn to next week, and we've got a tough assignment heading over to the West. So I think at some point we will sit down and review, and we have had some growth across the board, but at the end of the day, it's wins and losses that you need to put on the board, and we haven't done that.
Thank you for joining us. Good to have a chat with you, and it was a terrific struggle, and you weren't far away.
Good on you guys. Thank you.
Dale Thomas down in the Carlton rooms. The Bombers home by 8 points. So we're talking about great roars, most of them from the MCG, although one St Kilda fan whose name happens to be Beaver tells me by text, never louder than T. Schwartz from 60 metres at Etihad versus Lions. Remember that one, Lee?
Yeah, I remember it, unfortunately, but no, I don't think they compare anywhere else to that today. That today, and you hear it every again. I tell you what, another noise, though, whenever Collingwood are going well in finals, right up the top, that Collingwood that echoes around the stadium, that's a kind of spine-tingling sound, particularly if you're barracking for Collingwood at the time.
That's pretty good, but what about the Tigers?
Thank you very much. It is the Bulldogs by 24 points over Brisbane midway in the second quarter. The Giants by 35 points earlier today, and as Tim said, Essendon by 8 points. On the Tyre Power Twitter, Luke Ball, 2011 preliminary final against Hawthorn.
That was a great snap.
That was and it just got there, and everyone absolutely adored it.
Remember about 3 minutes earlier, Buddy conjured one out of nowhere down at the other end from the half-forward flank, and he sent one of those little reverse curlers home to put Hawthorn back in front.
But the thing that happened today, I mean, everyone on the stadium saw that Kipper Woody all of a sudden was on his own, about 60 metres from goal, and no one knew him, and Essendon were in control of the ball. So you saw there was the anticipation, wasn't it?
It was.
You knew that there should be something, this could be the match-winning goal, and there was the anticipation, and then it happened.
Having said that, there's nothing quite like, and this is a different category, Tone, the one where there's no anticipation. And on my second ever trip to the MCG as a young bloke from Tassie, I came over for an Ashes test in 70-71, and England were getting the better of us and looked like, and they did. Illingworth, and they won the Ashes back. We just couldn't knock over their top order, Boycott, Edrich and Luckhurst. And here, and this was the game that had been washed out and that was eventually replayed, and Australia batted first and made 490-odd when Bill Laurie declared with Rod Marsh 92 not out. And on the would have been the third morning, Australia got Froggy Thompson had actually got a couple of wickets, which was a pretty rare event as the summer wore on. And then I've gone off to get a couple of beers, and I'm coming up the steps with a beer in each hand, and all of a sudden there was this roar, and that's because with cricket it's totally different. You've got a silence, and then suddenly there is just this engulfing roar, and I'll never forget that moment. And that was, 47 years ago or something, but that has stuck with me forever. Just the way it split the silence. Then there's the roar like when Karen McCann won the marathon here, and she and Helen Sharono came into the stadium together, and it's just an endless roar.
Or that single roar, Jim, of Stuart Dew, third quarter preliminary in grand final against the Cats, kicking a goal. How big was that roar?
It was pretty big, Tony.
Yeah, okay. Roar!
You're in a stirring mood today, aren't you, Tony? I don't think it's me that's angry. What are you upset about? Do you need some therapy?
No,
do you want me to give you a cuddle, Tony?
No, thank you. But thank
Jimmy's had 9 years, Tony, and he's nearly over it.
And we're not going to forget
the bear.
We're not going to forget it either. So, John Worsfold to join us next. Essendon by 8 points. We're doing the Vic Super votes as well. Votes going towards the $5,000 Player of the Year, all courtesy of Vic Super. Vic Super, get super active. One of the biggest in Australia. VicSuper.com.au. Get all of your super in order. Doesn't matter how old you are. Go to the right people. Get the right advice early. John Worsfold to join us next. We're heading to Etihad Stadium, and plenty to come between now and 6 o'clock after Essendon's come from behind victory. 8-point winners over Carlton, all thanks to KFC. The flatbread sliders, it ends Monday, $2. They will have another thing that is finger-licking good starting on Tuesday. All thanks to KFC. You're listening to 3AW Football.
From 6 p.m. tonight, we're off to Etihad Stadium. It's North Melbourne up against Collingwood.
Blair to side bottom directly in front goal.
Join Matthew Lloyd, Daniel Harford, Shane McInnes and the team. For KFC, 3AW is football.
Tom Elliott.
We got word here of a police chase in Mornington. Cam, what's your word on the street?
A car just went up the
footpath on the wrong side of the road in front of the school.
How fast do you reckon he was going?
Probably 60 k's. He was flying.
3 till 6 weekdays.
Kids had to jump out the road to let this clown through.
Just saw the police handcuffing a man on the ground at the petrol station.
Drive.
Police have now confirmed that a man has been arrested after he was allegedly driving erratically in the Mornington area this afternoon.
On 3AW 693. Harvey Norman, your destination for Intel-powered laptops. Get performance and portability with an Intel-based laptop that's just right for you. Bag a laptop with an Intel Celeron processor from just $248. Or upgrade to an Intel Core i3 processor from just $698. Intel Core i5 from just $788. Or a lightning-fast Intel Core i7 processor from only $894. The very best deals on Intel-powered laptops. Now, at Harvey Norman.
Where do I go for blinds?
Winston with a Y.
What about awnings?
Winston with a Y.
Plantation shutters?
Still Winston with a Y.
Crimsafe doors?
Oh yes, me again, Winston with a Y.
But I want to buy Australian.
Only Winston with a Y.
You win again, Winston. For all your blind, shutters, awnings and Crimsafe needs, talk to Winston with a Y. Get a free in-home design, measure and quote now by heading to
winstonwithany.com.au.
Introducing a cool coupe crossed with a smart sports hatch, including a unique 3-door design and panoramic sunroof. The Veloster from $28,990 drive away, plus 12 months free comprehensive insurance. Reintroducing Hyundai. Hurry into your local dealer today. Insurance issued by Allianz Insurance Limited. Call 1300-139-664 for a product disclosure statement to see if the insurance is right for you.
Prestige Jayco are with you for the adventure. John Spence and his son Tony have been running Prestige Jayco for over 3 decades. And here's Tony with some feedback from their valued customers.
Thanks, Dennis. This one is from Julie. She says, we've been very happy campers since we picked up our Jayco Starcraft. Thanks for looking after us so well. Or how about this one from Neil, who says, on our way to Mount Gambier, we purchased a kitchen awning for our Jayco Swan. Great service.
Prestige Jayco, Ballerine Highway, Geelong.
The Henry Bucks famous winter sale is now on in stores and online. Right now, take a further 25% off already heavily reduced clothing and accessories from the world's most desirable menswear brands. Invest in the finest quality men's tailored clothing from Canali, Kenton Kerwin, Isaiah, Xenia, Hall & Shark and Gant. Come in for the genuine winter clearance on suits, shirts, accessories and gifts at Henry Bucks until stocks run out.
I don't want to alarm you, but with only 21 weeks to Christmas, if you want a brand new bespoke kitchen or bathroom for the big day, you've got to start planning it now. At Ultimate Kitchens and Bathrooms, we're ready for the Christmas rush. Organise a free design consultation in your own home now, and your beautiful new kitchen and bathroom will be ready well in time for Christmas. Ultimate Kitchens and Bathrooms, as individual as you. ultimatekitchensandbathrooms.com.au.
It's just gone 5:30, 28 minutes to 6 o'clock, 3AW football. Not only until 6 o'clock here at the MCG is 58,500. So a game that went from 0 to 100 from at the midway of the second quarter. It tossed, it turned, it ebbed, it flowed, and Essendon having the noses in front when it really counted. 11-18-84 defeating Carlton. 11-10-76. GWS making very, very short work of Melbourne. 35 points was the margin there. 14-13-97 to 10-2-62. And the Dogs just hanging on to around about a 4-goal margin, which they established in the first quarter over the Brisbane Lions. It's 58-33 there. All for Vodafone, $5 roaming. Power to you with Vodafone when you're planning your overseas trip. $5 extra gets you the full roaming courtesy of Vodafone. Tyre Power Twitter. At 3AW is football, all part of Tyre Power. Great deals on Continental tyres being done at the moment. Bruce, every time yellow and black comes up after a win, that is a roar, and it is special as well. The 5-4-3-2-1 votes for Vic Super. Jim, are they in yours or Lee's hands today?
They're in my hands.
Would
you like them now, Tony?
I'd like to. Feel free to allow an apology or two for someone that you couldn't get into the 5 votes.
Yeah, so get super active with Vic Super. The honourable mentions, we thought Wright was probably the most dangerous forward for Carlton there during the middle of the game. Big Cruiser had a pretty solid game for the Blues, as well as Doherty, and Liam Jones, 5 contested marks as a defender. Goddard started the game brilliantly well, and Zach Merritt and probably Zacharakis are probably the stiffest, I think, in the votes. But we're commenting throughout the game. It's pretty hard to really find a clear 5 favourites, I guess, and you can throw a blanket over a lot. But I've come up with, would you like them 5 down to 1 or 1 to 5?
No, we'll start at 1 and we'll build up to the big Chrissy present.
Oh, okay. McDonald, Tip and Woody gets 1 vote for me. He kicked 2 of his 3 goals were the last 2 goals of the game, and most importantly, he won them in a contest, and that brilliant one when the game was on the line. He also had 2 direct score assists, plus some tackling pressure, created some goals for Essendon. He gets the 1 vote. I went with Michael Hurley for 2. He had 7 marks, 8 rebounds, but he took the game forward. When Essendon was handballing the ball a lot, he was willing to back his leg, kick the ball. 476 metres gained from a centre-half back is a pretty big number. I gave the 3 to Bryce Gibbs. He was quite early, but he fought through the tag, and that was the reason why Carlton got back in the game. He had 11 contested possessions, 7 tackles, hit the scoreboard as well, and 9 clearances, so he was pretty big. 4 votes was the skipper for Carlton, Mark Murphy. 32 possessions, 17 of them contested, 9 clearances, 7 inside 50s. I thought he was Carlton's best player. And the 5 was our post-game guest, Dyson Heppel. Had 34 possessions, 15 contested, 6 clearances, 4 inside 50s and a goal. And when it was needed the most, he got his hands on the ball for the Bombers.
Interesting, Jim and Lloyd, that our best 3 are Heppel, Murphy and Gibbs. But I reckon at half-time, you might consider them being worthwhile contributors, but certainly not elevating themselves to the extent they did in the second half to set up the win.
Well, we're talking during the game. It wasn't as if the best players were sort of as outstanding as sometimes best players can be in certain games. So it was, but the 4-quarter effort was the issue that got those guys the votes.
So Dyson Heppel, the 5-voter this afternoon. Murphy, Gibbs, Hurley, and McDonald, Tip and Woody. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All votes going for Vic Super, the player of the year. Don't forget, if you want to be the listener of the year, there's $5,000 up for grabs. All you got to do is go to the 3rw.com.au, go to our competitions page at our website, give your details, automatically in for the $5,000. And if you want to vote for the last 3 weeks, best of field, $500. Dwayne Russell announcing that, I think, on a Wednesday night. So there have been, nearly 20 lucky winners so far, $10,000 already. The richest radio prizes, all thanks to Vic Super. John Worsfold would know full well that his side escaped today, winning by 8 points. Here's what he had to say, reflecting on his victory. It was 11-18-84. Essendon over Carlton, 11-10-76. 3 to McDonald, Tip and Woody. 3 to Joe Danaher. Here's the senior coach of the Essendon Football Club, John Worsfold.
Yeah, I think obviously first quarter was played the way we wanted the game to look, really. Can't remember what we had score-wise. 5 goals certainly at quarter time, and then that dried up, and we played the Carlton type of game pretty much after that, which is pretty slow, and gave them time to get their numbers back inside our forward line, which meant a lot of our shots were either really pressured or from wide, and it's to their credit, they got the game the way they wanted it, but I thought the boys responded really cleverly in the last quarter to how we wanted them to play to create those late scoring opportunities to win the game. It was really pleasing to come from behind maybe 10 points. To do what we had to do to win like that in the end was credit to the players.
Do you put it down to a drop in concentration?
After quarter time?
Yeah.
Drop in intensity, I think, more so. Just that, the game's how we want it, and looked like we just thought maybe it's going to stay that way without really working as hard as we were in that first quarter. So that was a bit disappointing, and gave them a sniff that the game was on their terms. We weren't kicking well for goal, and then we were really undisciplined 2 or 3 times, which we nearly paid the ultimate price for.
Donaldson Woody in the last quarter, Johnson, to really give you a spark. How important was he?
He was a critical part of, again, what we asked the players to do in that last quarter. A couple of strategic things that the players were grasped really well. He was a key part of that, and what he gave us steadied us in a lot of ways. But it wasn't just him. There was other players that were part of assisting that.
Carl had a bit of a tough day in front of goal.
Yep.
How confident were you with that last shot
I must admit, generally with set shots of goal, I try not to take too much interest in them. That's just another reason for your blood pressure to go up, and it was high enough anyway. So basically, I start thinking, I don't think, is he going to kick it or not, and I don't watch. I just start thinking about where's the game at, what do we need to do. So yeah, I wasn't even sure if his kick was the one that put us in front or whatever.
John Worsfold there. Carl Hooker 2 goals 5 today. Essendon by 8 points. 35-point win to the Giants over Melbourne, and it's tight going. Closing in on half-time at the Gabba. The Dogs by 12 points, but Brisbane certainly pushing and pushing hard. We'll head to Etihad Stadium. We'll hear from Brendan Bolton. We'll head out with the highlights. And, of course, Bruce Eva to take it up. After 6 o'clock, North Melbourne and Collingwood, our match for broadcast right across Australia with thanks to KFC. You're listening to 3AW Football.
There's so many reasons to visit Mulgrave Country Club. It's the perfect place to catch up with friends and family. Enjoy al fresco dining on the terrace or an a la carte meal in the bistro. It's the ideal place to enjoy great music and performances, including some of the very best tribute bands. And it's a great place for kids. They'll have a ball in the kids' zone room. Mulgrave Country Club open 7 days, corner of Wellington and Gels Road, Wheelers Hill. Check out the extensive menu and upcoming shows and events at mulgravecc.com.au.
At First Choice Liquor, we've got amazing prices on hundreds of drinks, like a 700ml bottle of Maker's Mark Bourbon for only $39. $39, that's 20% off. Visit First Choice Liquor online or in-store today. Catalogue ends Tuesday.
I want to feel the sand between my toes. And right now, I can escape to paradise with Escape Travel's hot airfare sale, including flights to Hawaii from $699. You can too. Call 135381 or search Escape Travel now.
Negative gearing. It's an idea that's past its use-by date. At Modo Project Builders, we don't believe in negative. We design and build a multiple income investment property that delivers a positive income week in and week out. With up to 10 times the rental income for one simple investment, there's nothing negative about being positive. Modo Project Builders. Think positive. Think Modo. Find out more at modobuilders.com.au.
Harvey Norman, your destination for Intel-powered laptops. Get performance and portability with an Intel-based laptop that's just right for you. Bag a laptop with an Intel Celeron processor from just $248. Or upgrade to an Intel Core i3 processor from just $698. Intel Core i5 from just $788. Or a lightning-fast Intel Core i7 processor from only $894. The very best deals on Intel-powered laptops. Now, at Harvey Norman.
I was actually quite shocked because I was down in Williamstown and I drove past it, mate, twice. I turned around and filled up the car.
Word on the street wants your hot news tip. Tell us something we don't know and you could land in the draw for our yearly prize. $50,000 towards the car of your choice with the Penfold Motor Group. So call 3AW's Drive program, send an email or a message on Facebook or Twitter. Word on the street. For Penfold Suzuki, meet the all-new Suzuki Swift with enhanced performance, excellent fuel economy and advanced preventative safety features.
Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Carr-Gregg for the Family Peace Foundation. Research shows that excessive alcohol damages the fabric of family peace. Lowering your alcohol intake can help strengthen your family and reduce conflict. For the sake of your children, the Family Peace Foundation recommends, if appropriate, that you monitor and reduce your alcohol consumption. Go to the Family Peace Foundation website now for responsible drinking guidelines.
Family Peace. Do it for your kids.
Hi, Jerry Harvey Norman. I've just been to our Springvale store. I do not think we have a better looking store in Australia. It's just amazing. The range, the salespeople, the parking, IKEA, Domain, Harvey Norman Big Buys, plus all the other retailers. I think it's the best of the best. And 90% of Melbourne people do not know it exists. That is amazing. Springvale, it deserves a look.
In Dull's second quarter so far.
Dull's being very kind, Tim.
It is.
Mum's found 4-day-old vegetables in the fridge and she's trying to whack something half decent up and it's just not happening. But something did happen. That magic ingredient that Mum seemed to find, and it turned from just rotten old vegetable games to one of the most beautiful bits of bubble and squeak you'd ever get in your life. 8-point margin to Essendon, 11-18-84 to Carlton, 11-10-76 Dyson Heppel, 5 Murphy 4, Gibbs 3, the 5-4-3 for Vic Super. And the Dogs really being made to work. They lead by 11 points. Jack Redpath with a kick just before half-time to extend the Dogs' margin. Injury to Easton Wood that no doubt Bruce and the team up there at Etihad will be able to find out a little bit more early today. The Giants jump into second posse, winning by 35 points, 14-13 to 10-2, and that is some sort of win. 27 scoring shots to 12 over Melbourne, whose position now is hanging just by a tiny thread, and St Kilda is their opponent, MCG, next Sunday afternoon in what should be an absolute beauty. Etihad Stadium is our venue tonight. Bruce Eva, Shane McGuinness, Daniel Harford, Mick Warner, Tiffany Cherry is there, as is Matthew Lloyd, who head to now Lloydie, North and Collingwood today. But we're musing before about great roars, and at the MCG running in and kicking a goal as McDonald Tipperwood gets, just as a little individual effort, a microcosm of your sporting life. It doesn't get too much better than that, I imagine.
It doesn't, and it's one of the thrills, Tone, of playing for Essendon Footy Club. No matter where you were on the ladder, you always had those big games to look forward to, whether it be Dreamtime at the G, Anzac Day, and Tip and Woody's become really the crowd favourite at Bomberland. So great to see him kick a few late and get them over the line and have them sitting 7th on the ladder now.
Have you got a raw moment, whether it's your own, where you were totally blown away by the crowd reaction, or some goal or moment that you can remember that had that Tip and Woody ring to it as it did this afternoon in front of 58,500?
I'd have to say the David Zaharakis moment on Anzac Day. Wet conditions, 4 goals down, and we kicked another one, and then when Zaharakis' ball went through, the roar that day was absolutely massive.
Yeah, and we've had that one. What about your back heel one?
I'm not sure, Tone, about that one, but I think also the comeback game when we played against North Melbourne and just the atmosphere and just the big comeback. I don't think the crowd could believe what they were seeing that day. So,
what was the margin? Did that get out? I can remember the game was on a Sunday afternoon. Was it 69 points or something like that?
Yeah, that's right, 69. I remember when Spider Burton kicked one off his toes like he was a crummer, like Boomer Harvey, and I thought it's not going to be our day today, because I think he kicked the goal that put them 69 points up. And I remember James Hird got us together and he said, let's try and halve this lead by half-time. He's just put a small goal towards us. We ended up getting it back to, I think, 18 points at half-time. So ended up running out with it at the end. So
how many did you get again that day, Lloydie?
I got 9, Tim.
Good. Hey, and by the way, too, we workshopped that one while I was giving you a diversionary question. Who have you got up in pre-game this evening, Matthew?
What I love about North is that they'll give a player who's just about to play the game. So Sean Higgins will be down in the bunker there, getting ready to play, but also talking to us, which will be brilliant.
Yeah, and I can guarantee one thing: in spite of what long-held beliefs and superstitions, the bloke who you get pre-game from North Melbourne ends up having an absolute beauty. So look out for Sean Higgins to be there. So Sean Higgins, part of it. Lloydie, will throw to you after the 6 o'clock
before
news.
I go, Beaver wants to discuss that raw moment too, Tone. So
I'll put him on then.
I just want the right to reply. You still there, Lee and Tim?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I just checked that you poo-pooed or just dismissed the Troy Schwartz goal here in 2004.
Yeah.
So the roof was on that Saturday night. The crowd was 52,539, and I reckon there was probably about 48,000 St Kilda supporters here. I've watched that on YouTube, I reckon, 20 times over the years, and the noise was that loud when the goal was kicked from 60 metres with about 5 seconds remaining to put St Kilda a point in front. The actual camera gantries were shaking. The footage is not still because of the noise inside the stadium under the roof that night. Loudest roar ever here at Etihad Stadium, without a doubt.
Hey, Bruce, was that very similar to the Robbie Gray goal last week?
Is that... Who's that? Is that Jimmy?
No, it's Tim Lane here, mate.
How'd the Cats go last night?
I'd like to close on
still higher on the ladder, Bruce.
That's Schwartz' moment. I've just blocked that out of my memory bank completely. That's too sad, too painful.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Matthew. We'll check in with you, 3AW Football, post 6 o'clock. And then...
How'd Haileybury go, Lloydie?
We won. We won quite easily against Lingy's mob. So, it's the perfect season, 10-0, which was great to be part of.
Fantastic.
Oh, you've given so much to that school that gave so much to you. Well done. Matthew Lloyd there, and part of the Saturday night team. Then, of course, after 11 o'clock, Rex Hunt and Footy Nightline, all for Tobin Brothers there. So plenty of football between now and midnight. Here is just a few words from Brendan Bolton reflecting on his side's 8-point loss this afternoon.
Yeah, we're disappointed. It hurts. But again, trying to keep some equilibrium. We fought back after a first poor 20 minutes. Great character from our guys. Steadied the ship. I think it's the 6th or 7th time that we've been in really tight situations and in front in last quarters and haven't been able to complete it. That's frustrating. It hurts. But those moments will be great learning for our young group and pay us back. The more you're in them, the more you learn, the more often you're in them, eventually they'll turn for us.
I'm not simplistic, but is that just a lot of the second last team that, that sort of stuff happens to you?
What's that, sorry?
Is that a lot of us that team second last in rebuilding that you can't quite get those tight spots right?
Yeah, well, the ladder doesn't lie. You're there for a reason. But we have been in games and in strong positions. But when you're young, you've got to learn what's required in moments because, you look at the 3 or 4 goals that they kicked in the last, and they're just little fundamental errors. We get stepped. You spill a ball in congestion that you probably should contain. There's not one thing. They're just little moments, and you've got to be in them. And really seasoned players have been in them a lot, and they know what to do at the right time. So we're going through. The good thing is that we're in those situations. We're learning the hard way, but usually when you learn the hard way, you can grow quicker.
Brendan Bolton there. The boys after 6 o'clock will reflect more on his presser this afternoon, where Essendon in front of 58,500 people defeated Carlton by 8 points. Farewell, Jimmy Bartell and Lee Matthews and Tim Lane. We shall all meet at various times. You and I shall meet tomorrow, Tim, around midday for 3AW football, and what a beauty it will be. Richmond and Hawthorn, right across Australia. All thanks to KFC. You're listening to 3AW football.
When I retire, I'm really looking forward to travelling.
To spending time with my grandchildren.
I'm looking forward to improving my putting.
I'm looking forward to having time to do things like volunteer.
When I retire, I'm looking forward to taking up that new hobby I've never had time for.
You know what no one ever says when they're asked what they're looking forward to in retirement?
I'm really looking forward to the money.
At Vic Super, we can show you how you can maximise your Centrelink benefits and enjoy secure monthly income payments, just like a regular paycheck, for life. So get super active and visit vicsuper.com.au/get paid. You should consider the relevant product disclosure statement from the website before deciding whether Vic Super is the right choice for you.
Hello. National Tiles has been saving professional tilers up to $8,000 per year with the industry's lowest adhesive prices. And now with massive reductions on a much bigger range of products, National Tiles is saving tilers up to $26,000. Yes, with trade club prices locked down permanently, professional tilers are now saving up to $26,000 per year. So tilers, come into National Tiles now and save.
Monday nights from 9 on 3AW. Join Steve Price and the Car Advice team for an update on the turbocharged Hyundai Sonata now in run-out.
With the Sonata now in run-out, you'll also receive 5 years, 75,000 kilometre free scheduled servicing, plus 12 months free comprehensive insurance.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, you can't go wrong with that type of stuff.
It's incredible, just knowing what you're in for, Steve, just makes a huge difference, knowing exactly what it's going to cost you for the first 5 years, and that 5 years free scheduled servicing, you can't beat that.
Introducing a sophisticated turbocharged performance sedan with smart cruise control and blind spot detection. The Sonata, now in run-out, with 5 years, 75,000 kilometre free scheduled servicing, plus 12 months free comprehensive insurance. Reintroducing Hyundai. Hurry into your local dealer today. Insurance issued by Allianz Insurance Limited. Call 1300 139 664 for a product disclosure statement to see if the insurance is right for you.
Harvey Norman Big Buys. One shop only. Springvale. Hot prices. The stuff other Harvey Norman stores do not sell. Sporting, pets, baby, toys, camping, kitchenware, music, online or in-store. Springvale only. Harvey Norman Big Buys. Save, save, save. Online or in-store. Springvale only.
Harvey Norman, your destination for Intel-powered laptops. Get performance and portability with an Intel-based laptop that's just right for you. Bag a laptop with an Intel Celeron processor from just $248. Or upgrade to an Intel Core i3 processor from just $698. Intel Core i5 from just $788. Or a lightning-fast Intel Core i7 processor from only $894. The very best deals on Intel-powered laptops. Now, at Harvey Norman.
At First Choice Liquor, we've got amazing prices on hundreds of drinks. Like a carton of Victoria Bitter cans for only $44. That's right, only $44. Visit First Choice Liquor online or in-store today. Catalogue ends Tuesday.
And that about wraps it up from the MCG, but footy on 3AW, all thanks to KFC, far from over. Bruce Eva leading the team from Etihad Stadium, North Melbourne and Collingwood, our match for broadcast. Checking the results so far this afternoon. It was the Giants 14-13-97 over Melbourne 10-62. Essendon 58,500, saw a game that really rose from nothing to be a fantastic finish. 11-18-84 to Carlton, 11-10-76. And the Western Bulldogs in Brisbane, pretty tight going at the moment. Half-time up at the Gabba. The Dogs holding an 11-point margin, 8-11-59 to Brisbane, 7-6-48. But injury concerns to the Western Bulldogs, Easton Wood being the main one there. Jason Johannesson was the out. Rob Murphy did play, but still plenty of work to go in that game as Brisbane certainly taking it up to the Bulldogs. Score service tonight via 6PR for Fremantle and the Gold Coast. And then here, 3AW football tomorrow. And what a beauty it should be, should the weather hold. There is no doubt at all that there'll be 75,000 to watch Richmond and Hawthorn, preceded by St Kilda and the Eagles. So much still for St Kilda to play. Our best of field today for Vic Super. Get super active with Vic Super. Was Dyson Heppel with the 5 votes, 4 to Murphy and 3 to Gibbs. Hooker 2 and McDonald, Tip and Woody 1. So a game that rose from nothing to a great finish. Essendon by 8 points, and this is how we caught the action on 3AW Football.
Footy highlights for Vic Super. Vic Super's conscious investment option. Super that makes a difference.
Voice of 3AW Football, Tim Lane.
Joe winds up, goes long and rams it home. Danaher intelligently waits down. Crumbs, runs, 2 bounces, steadies from 40. Oh, and kicks. If the first one was a contender, that is first prize.
Like Usain Bolt.
Essendon, Jim, at the moment have got this Carlton defence on the rack.
They're big, the Essendon forwards.
Hand pass in space for Waller to run onto. He paddles, he collects, he loses it, he gets it onto his boot, and somehow or other he conjures a magical goal.
If you like stoppages, Lee, you are absolutely loving this.
I reckon our RACV business insurance man from those ads, he likes stoppages.
If you're like me, it's just fascinating stuff.
He would love this at the moment.
Not exciting to watch.
Ball's on its way, trying to shape it right to left. Did it successfully. Well done, Matthew Wright.
Snap to the goal square, and it's put through by Wright.
The amount of times mum's tried to do something and says good food, eat it, and it's still 4-day-old vegetables that you didn't eat 4 days ago. This is what we've got here.
It's just fascinating stuff.
Matthew Wright comes in, and he's a dead-eye dig.
Curnow knocks it into the Lamb Park. He spun out of trouble. Snap around the body for a goal. Cruiser from 35, dead in front, holds its line. They're in front.
Howlett found some space, kicked the goal.
So Heppel, he took a little off the kick, but he hit it so sweetly, it's a goal.
Silvani's hardly got anyone in front of him. Forward to the centre, has a bounce, reaches 50, has another, cuts it to 30 metres, and kicks a goal.
35 out, Charlie Curnow, slide angle, on its way, it holds its line for a goal, and the Blues are in front. As Casbolt from 25 goals. Open your eyes, he kicked it.
Danaher from outside 50. Big, long, high, handsome kick, and he delivers in their moment of most dire need. Hand pass to Gibbs. Long ball, long ball, has gone through for a goal.
Coming through Wiedering, handball shark by Green. Round the body he goes, ball knocked away. Tip and Woody, yes! From 2 tackles and goals!
Season on the line here for the Bombers. Cruz with the tap, but straight to Heppel, who bangs it back to the wing. Marchbank almost marked it. Spillage picked up for the Bombers by Stewart. He's got McDonald, Tip and Woody streaming down the ground. He runs to within 30. particularly if you're wearing red and black. The Bombers win by the skin of their teeth. A near-death experience. They're still in the race. They've beaten one of their arch rivals by 8 points at the MCG.
Our boys who play this grand old game.